There's really some concrete tips that I can give to train their mind to access higher consciousness. Very important message is really minding your thoughts. Thoughts are like, it's electromagnetic static. If you think something, it's not in your head, it leaves your head. It's actually part of the field. A lot of people are trying to figure out if they have a past life, if past lives are real. This is really mind-blowing for a lot of people. It's like opening the box of Pandora. There are some things in this reality that keep everybody in this reincarnation cycle. I really want to get people out of it, to not really go into the cycle again and again. It's ascending people to their higher mind, to their higher purpose, and really get into higher states of being.
Sandra, welcome to the Ascended Lightworkers podcast. It's really great to have you here. How are you doing today?
Thank you. Thank you for having me today. I'm fine. I'm really looking forward to our interview, to our conversation. So thank you for having me. How are you
Thank you
today?
for. Yeah, I'm really great. Really excited to have this conversation, and it's a beautiful day outside, so I'm happy.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Sandra, you are a psychic medium with 12 years of experience in giving readings and also a QHHT hypnosis practitioner with more than 700 sessions under your belt. Can you take us back to the very beginning? When did you become aware of your psychic abilities and what was the experience like for you?
Yes, I think a lot of people can relate to that. Is that psychic abilities is something that you have all your life. So it's something that feels normal. So I think I've had it all my life. But becoming aware of it is discovering that not everybody sees it the way that you do. And that's in later life when you find out that not everybody can hear thoughts or see things. So I think it's more in my teenage years that you find out that it's not really something that everybody has, but it always has been there.
And how did your family, friends, or surrounded reacted when they became aware of your abilities, or when you decided to start sharing them with the world publicly?
I think with my earliest memories, my mother always said, "Well, don't tell it to anybody, just because people might think you're crazy." Just it was always in the whispers. So I had a very open-minded grandma. So I sat next to her, and then we whispered to each other all those things. But it was not really allowed in that time to really say out loud, or people might think you're crazy, or people might not accept it. So for the longest time in my life, I kept it like a little bit for a secret. And when I started to really speak out loud, or to really talk about it with people, it kind of was normal. So I thought, wow, now the world is going to change. People are going to see me differently, and everything will be strange. But it was not. Nothing changed. Nobody really thought anything of it. So, but the thing that made it a bit more difficult for me, and to try to keep it for myself at times, is that. And I think that more people can relate to this who have the psychic abilities, is that when you say it to people, people say, "Oh, what do you feel with me? Do you feel that I am this or that?" And yeah, it's not really something that I'm doing all day, because then I will be broken by the time it will be afternoon. So that was a bit difficult for me to stand up for myself and really not do that all the time.
Yeah, I think it needs a little bit of healthy boundaries around you, right? To set them with
Absolutely.
people. So, can you tell us a little bit more about how these abilities, manifest in your life? Like, what are they exactly, and maybe how have they helped you practically in your own journey, healing, transformation, or life in general?
I think My thing is about the thoughts that people have. So I can see the electromagnetic field that is forming when people think. So thoughts, they have like an electromagnetic static. It's very well, if you don't think about it ever, it's very strange to hear this, but it's a big network of thoughts and energy. So with tapping into people's thoughts, it made me very insecure because people don't always think very nice things, especially when you are a teenager. So that made me really insecure, and I really had to find out, and I think a lot of people can relate to that as well, what is mine and what is yours, and really see what where my energy ends and where the other energy begins. So it's really, that was really difficult for me to find out, and I think I managed when I became an adult a little bit more. So it was a really hard and long journey, but yeah, it always gave me a certain sense of security for me. So when some people feel insecure in situations when they have to take a decision or take a step or do something differently, I can trust my intuition and I feel that no, this is the right way to go, even though it will bring me some type of trouble, but in the end it's always for my own good. So I have this intuition that will always tell me to go that way. So that in that way I feel blessed.
And what was the process for you when you decided to pursue basically a career based on those abilities and also sharing them with people? How was your thought process behind it?
Well, for me, the first step was setting healthy boundaries for myself, of course, so I would not be disappearing all the time, like being too all over the place with my energy. So this was the first step, and then I had this really lovely moment where I was in a bad place for myself, and somebody helped me with some kind of hypnosis. And that really, really got to me. It was so lovely that this was something that could help people. So I'm a very enthusiastic person. So at the moment I was like, yes, I want to do this. I want to help people with this. This is the thing. And then I saw Dolores Cannon videos. And Dolores Cannon is just such an inspirational woman. She's so down to earth. She's really cool. And she had such resonating information that I thought, yes, this is my cue. Now I can do something with this. But in fact, QHHT doesn't really require to have like mediumistical skills or do psychic things. It's just a method of doing quantum hypnosis. So when I started this, my practice really became alive, and then I added the readings with that. So I think it all started for me with deciding to practice the quantum hypnosis.
So that was the modality that basically unlocked things and brought everything together. Like this modality that indeed doesn't require the skills, but then when you combine it with psychic skills, I guess it's even more powerful.
Absolutely.
So you've been giving readings for over 12 years and you have done more than 700 hypnosis sessions. What are some common patterns or characteristics that you see on people who do this kind of work and also achieve some massive changes and transformations in their own life?
You mean for the people who have the actual session? What happens with them?
Yes, like for people who go through the sessions, go through the work, and also they take the next step or they achieve some massive transformations in their lives. Like, what do they get right?
Yes. Well, I will discuss the both separately. So when you take the quantum hypnosis sessions, it gives people really, it opens their minds. At first, a lot of people are just really trying to figure out if they have a past life, if past lives are real. So that's the first step that people really have to go through. So with the QHHT sessions, you find out that past lives are real, you have them, and they are actually relevant to what you're doing right now. So this is really mind-blowing for a lot of people. It really opens up so much more. It's like opening the box of Pandora. It's the gateway through more spirituality, wanting to discover more about yourself. So with the QHHT sessions, it's really cool that people discover why they came to Earth, what is their theme that they're working on, what is the reoccurring pattern that they're working on. And once people discover that, and they discover that they have a higher self, and they talk to their higher self, and it actually has something intelligent to say, that it's mind-blowing. It really changes people.
Nice. And you specialize in helping people unlocking the power of their minds. How do you approach reprogramming the mind for personal transformation?
Yes, that's really interesting. I want to go really into depth with this one, because I found out through all those sessions with QHHT, there's a pattern in which people develop. At first, I found out that there's a pattern every 7 years. There's some difference in what happens in a person's life. It's like it's energy that changes every 7 years. So the first 7 years, 0 to 7, are really, really important, because those are the years that people get programmed. And the 8 to 14 years is when they develop personality, identity, and then 14 to 21, and so on. And then 35 to 38 is really important, 28 is important. So it was really cool to find out that everybody who came to me for sessions was walking along those paths. So when they say, yeah, I really got into difficult times, and I say, yeah, what age was it? Yeah, I was 28. I think, oh my gosh, everybody has it at the age of 28. And then they say, yeah, and then I got into this and this trouble at 35. I think, yeah, everybody has that too. It's really a common pattern that happens, and sometimes it's like off for half a year, or it's not exactly at your birthday, but it's really, really important, those patterns. But then for reprogramming the mind, I found out that the programs that get programmed on your system, if we compare the human body or the human mind system with a computer, it gets all the software and all the programs loaded from 0 to 7. But it's all, you get born with parents who are traumatized, who are young, who don't know what they're doing. So you develop, especially now we go even deeper, with the safety, emotional and physical safety. So all the things that you develop, your point of view as a, let's say, 4-year-old, on how to be emotionally safe. It's a program that is installed at the year of 4 or 5 or 6. And it is in relation to how you get treated by your parents. So if your parents are really very vocal, hostile, maybe they yell a lot or something, so your emotional safety is like hiding, or your emotional safety is like trying to be like the Joker to make them laugh, or so everybody has a different development on emotional safety, but it is not always logical. So if your emotional safety program is let's say trying to sabotage the whole thing, or because when you sabotage the whole thing, your parents stop fighting, or when you it can be different for everybody. So when you find out what your emotional safety is, your emotional physical safety is, you know what program there is on basic safety. So when you want to reprogram and you want to get that program out, it won't work, because then you don't have any basic safety anymore. So you will feel anxiety, and all the other programs that are attached to that basic safety program, they will collapse, and then the program will be back in a few days, months, weeks. And this is the most important thing, to really get to the root, to get into a basic safety mode again, to feel that how can you feel emotionally safe without doing this and this and this. And then you can work on removing all the other programs. So it's what you see in hypnosis is that they work with affirmations, and they try to retract programs from your, like, when people say I'm not worthy, then they say, yes, you are worthy, you're fine, you're a great person. You cannot just put a sticker over it. You have to really get the wiring different and all the other programs that are attached. You cannot just remove something, because what I see in my practice is that when people use those methods like affirming and hypnosis to get programs out, it just pops back in 3 months. It just is. So you have to really go deeper into it and really work on those aligning programs as well, and work on the basic safety. And one other thing that is really, really important with reprogramming, so you have the programs on basic safety, and you have the programs that are just limiting thoughts. Limiting thoughts don't have as much weight as the basic safety, but the limiting thoughts, people use affirmations again, like maybe people have like a limited thought about when I was born poor, I will not ever be rich. And then they try to affirm, I am rich, I am wealthy, I'm abundant. So this is some like a sticker they try to put over it. But I saw that there are two main energy lines that work up against limiting thought. That is belief and proof. So if you believe, is like putting the affirmation over the limiting thought, like I am wealthy, I'm abundant. But now you have to search for the proof, because your mind is wired to say, no, your bank account is zero, so you're not abundant. So it keeps that in check. But now you have to search for the proof. Yes, I am abundant, because when my uncle came, I had this really nice buffet and we really ate a lot and I really felt abundant. So you actually have to rewire yourself all the time when you feel that, no, my bank account is zero. No, when your aunt or your uncle came, you had a really nice buffet, you had a nice dress, everything was taken care of, you're abundant. So it's a constant rewiring. You cannot just put a sticker like an affirmation over things. You have to really rewire. And that is really helpful. Everybody who does this, like also put affirmation in and then search for the proof, they have like immediate results, like in a week. When you do this, you have results within a week, guaranteed. Absolutely. So this is my main secret with reprogramming.
Very interesting. I've never heard about this concept about the safety program, and that this needs to be taken care of first.
Absolutely.
Can you please elaborate a little bit on this further, like how exactly it works?
Yeah, sure. With the safety programming is like the main programming in our body. So when you have parents who are giving you the silent treatment, your go-to safety is like making yourself visible or something. Or let's say for me, it's a lot of people also have that. They feel safe if they can really assess the situation. They can feel how somebody else feels. That is something that feels safe for me. If I can really feel how you feel, so I can feel emotionally safe, and I feel that you're okay and I'm okay. So when this comes into play, and you are like, or a person that I try to feel is locked off or is not letting me in or something. It can make me unsafe. But then there's no visible unsafety in the room. But then I feel this anxiety, and then as a adult person, you cannot really explain where the anxiety comes from. So going back to the roots, for you to really feel into everybody's person and how they feel, to make you feel safe, work on the basic safety first. So the basic safety is, for a lot of people, is seeing yourself. If you really see yourself, if you really give this safety to yourself, then you can start building onto things. But it's very specific for a person. What is their basic safety? What is their, and a lot of people have their wires crossed. Like, it's not really very logical to have this definition of basic safety programmed into your mind, because this does not lead to safety. But if you just get the wires out, the whole system will collapse and you will feel anxiety. So we all have this anxiety. It's like when you have a guitar and you have this snare and you're like dung, it always rings a bit. But if it really gets plucked, the snare, this anxiety pops up, and people they cover this anxiety up with coping mechanisms like cleaning up, like trying to get control over situations, to really cleaning and controlling, and it really helps to, well, let me do it myself, or I always want to be in control. These are really signs of people who are in high anxiety, because they feel that they're out of control because the snare is always plucked. And you really have to find out what your snare is and why it gets plucked, so you can work on this basic safety. So it's really important. This is like the basic anything of reprogramming.
Very interesting. And can we break down the mind, because we're talking about intuition, the subconscious, etc., and then these concepts are interweaved in a way. So can you tell us what is the difference between the conscious mind, the subconscious mind, and then intuition or the higher mind?
Yes, absolutely. Well, the conscious mind is the mind where what we all use on a daily basis. Like, I have to go to the grocery store, I have to pick up my kids, so the conscious mind, what should I wear, what should I eat? It's really, everybody uses it the whole time, but it's actually like 10 or 20% of our whole system. So underneath the conscious mind is the unconscious or the subconscious mind, and this is the mind where all the programs run. So all those programs that are programmed in our life, in our early life, from 0 to like maybe even 21, and after that, but the programs that are from 0 to 7 are the biggest, are the foundational programs, and then afterwards comes identity and personality programs. So the programs in the subconscious mind, they run our lives. So it's very interesting when you do a session like a reading, a subconscious mind reading, or a QHHT session, you access this subconscious mind, because sometimes with your conscious mind you cannot reach the questions or the answer to the questions, because the subconscious mind is running the whole show. So it's really, really important to know what is in your subconscious mind if life is not going the way you want it to do. So it's always the subconscious mind. In the higher mind is you in a higher frequency. So when you get yourself into a higher state of frequency, higher state of being, you will reach your higher mind. And your higher mind is kind of like your intuition or your higher self, and it always has good answers to questions, and it always has answers to questions that are not really critical or like comments or anything. It's always loving and it's always really accommodating. So when you hear, well, this is also really important, when you hear your mind say stuff to you, for a lot of people with the conscious mind working, it's always the ego well, I pile it up at one at ego. So the ego will say, no, don't do that. Who is waiting for you? Nobody wants to see you. Nobody cares. No, always like very commentary, and it's not really nice. But the higher mind will never say something like that. It will always say like, yeah, you should go. You should meet new people, and you should not be afraid. And it's always really accommodating. So you can hear the difference right away.
Yeah, the one is hypercritical, the other one is always loving and nice.
Absolutely, absolutely.
So how someone can train their mind to have more access to their intuition?
There are really good ways to do so. There's really some concrete tips that I can give to train their mind to access higher consciousness. The one thing that is really, really important. The whole society that we live in is very left brain oriented. So it's very logical, very calculated. It's very focused, of course. But the right brain, we both have both spheres of our brain, and I actually read some articles that the psychologists they focus or maybe psychologists in the past they focused solely on the left brain because they really didn't feel any or didn't see any importance of the right brain. But the right brain needs to be in balance. So left and right brain needs to be like in ideal situation in equal balance. So if you are only in the right brain, you're very dreamy, very creative, very all over the place, not really focused and centered. And if you're only rational, it's like what I can only believe what I see. Let me run the numbers. Let me get the proof. Let me get the, so it's very so they really need to work together. And if we get people to get the hemispheres to work together, you're neither dreamy or really rational. You're just really in balance. And then with that balance, you get a lot of access to your native gifts, your native intuition, and your natural ability to connect to the higher self. That is one thing. And some other tips is also to really mind what you're thinking, to really get some discernment about where your thoughts come from, and learn to quiet your mind with meditation. And I know that a lot of people, they really find meditation boring. They don't want to meditate. It's not something for me. But I want to propose to do some other types of meditation. Some people are really very into moving, to get into sports, or maybe just walking or bicycling, skating. And some people really like to sit still. You can listen to music, you can just look at the sky. It doesn't always have to be like sitting up straight and doing Om. It's meditating is really, really important.
Very good tips, very practical. How can intuition help someone navigate their life better? So let's say someone really develops both their sides of their brain, how their life can be improved in a practical way, like in their work, their relationships, their businesses, anything that they are doing.
It's really important to have that, because when you do, you are more able to discern what your ego is saying to you and what your higher mind is saying to you. So it becomes more clear. So you will be more centered about not only making decisions with the ego, and the ego will always have you make decisions based on your trauma. And if you make decisions based on your trauma and all the previous experiences, it will close you down. So when you get older, you will get more narrow-minded. It will close you down, and you will keep going in circles. But when you start to decide to really integrate your intuition and to have those hemispheres both synchronized, you will have a balanced action, and you get to choose decisions not only based on ego and trauma, but also break free from all the old programming all the intergenerational programming, all the programming from parents, programming from society and everything. So well, we really need to break free from programming.
One way to do that, or like to synchronize and use both sides of our brain, is the Hemi-sync technique. Can you explain to us how it works and how it can support someone accessing more of their intuition?
Absolutely. It's really cool and it's very hands-on and everybody can do it. So if you use the hemisphere technique, you have to use headphones. It doesn't work with the speakers just going into the room, because with the headphones we have the left and the right speaker on your ears, and then the left speaker will emit another frequency than the right speaker. So your left and your right ear, they have the input of other different frequencies. So when you have a difference, like let's say you have a frequency of 10 hertz and you have a frequency of, like, say, I have to rephrase that. I'm sorry. It's not, you cannot emit frequencies of 10 hertz. That's also very important if people do that, if they think they listen to frequency of 10 hertz, because our equipment has a threshold of 20 hertz. So you have to use frequencies of 20 hertz and above, because a lot of just the standard equipment like our headphones, they can only emit frequencies starting from 20 hertz. So let's say you have a frequency of 20 hertz and you have a frequency of 24 hertz. Hertz is like the cycle that the frequency makes. It's like a sinus movement, and it's, well, let's not make it very difficult, but 20 and 24 hertz. So the difference between those two headphones, the left and the right, will make a difference. Your brain will equalize it. So your brain will start to resonate to 4 hertz. And if your brain starts resonating into 4 hertz, it uses your left and your right brain to get a stasis, to really get into stasis of 4 hertz. So they work together, because everything in your body wants to achieve stasis. So the stasis will make sure that you're in 4 hertz, and they will communicate with each other to do so. And the 4 hertz will make sure that you are in theta. And when you're in the theta state, it opens you up to your higher self and your imagination. Well, imagination and everything you want to receive. So it's a really good idea to do that.
In your practice, you help people through soul readings or your program. So can you tell us when, for instance, you work with a client and you do a reading, what kind of information do you have access to, and how can you use that then to help the client in their healing or transformation journey?
I have access to all kinds of information. There is information that is from within this matrix construct. So there we have like the Akashic and every thought form that is in this matrix construct. And some people do also have connections from outside of this matrix construct. So I can get information from either sides. It depends on what the person needs and wants. Some people are really typical people who operate within this matrix construct, and they just want to see some past lives and they just want to have some galactic information. That's fine. I can do that. But also really interesting is that I can use the thoughts use the thoughts that they have about other people as a bridge to go to those people and to see how those people think about those people and all the interconnected things. So the thoughts of people, they connect everybody. So if let's say you have questions about your partner, and by only saying his first name, I can look at him, look at his trauma, what happened to him. And so it creates bridges. When people even think about things, I can do something with that. And things that I have done recently in my readings is really working with trauma. So some people don't know where their patterns come from. They have repeating stuff that keeps popping up in their lives, and they just don't know how to really get rid of it. Then I go back, and I think we need to find the source of the trauma in this lifetime, so I can see what happens in their youth, things that they might not even presently know, things that happened, and then see what kind of program was installed in their system. I had one really interesting reading last time with a person that I saw a memory of her, that she was threatened by her mom that if she didn't behave, she would leave her behind in the mall. Well, I think a lot of moms, they did this in an innocent way. It's not that they want to abandon her. If you don't behave yourself, I'm leaving you here. It's very innocent in a way, but it created for her like an abandonment issue. Like, I really have to be nice because then my mom will abandon me and I will not have any chance of survival. So it creates like the basic fear structures that you really have to behave nicely to really, so you get accepted and you can really go into the social circles. So this was something really important to see for her, to know about her basic safety. So this was like one event that made a real big big ripple in her whole life, in her adult life now even. So those things I can see in the sessions. It works with the subconscious mind and the thoughts, the matrix akashic and everything outside of it. So it's really cool.
Yeah, like it's crazy how everything is interconnected, and things that have
Yes.
happened so long ago, they're basically influence our whole experience as adults. But then for me,
Yes.
what is even more fascinating is that now we actually can have access to all of these things and go back and resolve them, and
Yes.
then create basically a completely new destiny for us, because we're not influenced by all these like traumas that happened, I don't know, 30, 40 years
Yes.
ago. I think it's fascinating.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, for someone who really wants to dig deep into this work and say, okay, I really want to work with this, go see everything that it's my subconscious that doesn't serve me anymore, and reprogram it in a, like really effective way. I know you have like a method that you developed called the core shift method. Can you walk us through it and how someone can have some massive transformations for their life?
Absolutely. So by doing all those QHHT sessions, I saw that a lot of people, they regain a lot of information about themselves and about their journey. But when they get this information, they are not able to really alchemize it or really use it, or they get sucked into daily life and stuff happens and it's like, yeah, it was a nice session, but what should I do about it? So I developed a little bit more hands-on program that really guides people through it. So you have like 4 steps. It's the discover, breakthrough, reprogram, and elevate. So the discover is like what I said about the woman who got the fear about abandonment in the mall. That is something that will pop up in the discover sessions. And everything around this. So we go into the basic fear, basic safety settings, and really find out what is happening in the breakthrough phase. You can see it yourself. You can feel it. You can see it. You know where it comes from. So you really have a breakthrough, and then the reprogramming, of course, of really applying it to really do it differently. So knowing it and feeling it and then applying it, and really using techniques like what I said before, like rewiring, and I use not the standard hypnosis. I use some forms of hypnosis. I use my readings. I also use some plant medicine sometimes if people really need it. and mixed with assignments. They get really very personal assignments. Every time I have a program with somebody, it is really personal. It's not like cookie cutter. They get a really personal program, and this whole bunch of everything, it will help the person really make it lasting, really make it last. And of course, the elevating is like elevating your frequency to really attract other things, make different choices, and get into that higher state, in that ascended state.
We've talked about a lot of different modalities, and also we've talked about the QHHT. For people who are not familiar with it, can you tell us more about it? Like, what is this modality exactly and how it works?
Yes, sure. QHHT is really cool. It's developed by Dolores Cannon, and a lot of people, they made their own spin-offs. So they call it like quantum healing or BQH or introspective hypnosis. So it all stems from QHHT. It's all kind of the same. So in this in the basic concept of QHHT, you have like one session that consists out of two portions. So seeing your past lives and speaking to the higher self. That's really very generally speaking. And also very normal for QHHT sessions is to have a really big conversation before you start. So you have a really good understanding of what happened to people, and letting people to get it out. And then going into the session, Dolores Cannon really says that you need to be in a bed, like lying in a bed under the blankets, to really feel comfortable, to really be able to get into the session in the best way that is possible. So it's a really good way to understand what is happening in your system, to understand that this life that you're living is not standalone, and it's really part of a bigger system of where you consist of. So I hope this makes a clear image of what a QHHT session is about.
So you've done more than 700 sessions. What
Yes.
are some powerful or surprising experiences that you've witnessed that maybe go a little bit beyond seeing a past life of a person?
Well, I had a lot of interesting things, of course, but something that pops into mind that is really, really interesting and thought-provoking is that there was a woman who was looking at her past life as a child, and she was as a child in that past life she was taken in by a witch in the forest. So she was abandoned by her parents, and the witch was taking care of her and learning her to do potions and stuff. And it was really like, okay, that's nice. It's a really nice life. And then something really, really interesting happened. She said, "Whoa!" She's looking at me and she says, "Thank you that you're back. I'm seeing you. I know that you are now older. I'm seeing you." I was like, I have chills all over, because in that past life, the witch recognized that the version of the woman now was looking through the eyes of the child, and she saw like the spirit of the now, and she spoke through time and dimensions to the woman now. So it was like chilling. It was really, really cool, and it was very interactive. It was not only just passively walking through a life. No, the witch really recognized the soul of the now. It was really, really cool.
Crazy.
Yeah.
So bringing it all together a little bit, so how I understand that someone can approach this is that the first part is really doing this work with either hypnosis or the readings to get the insights, go through the first years of someone's life, seeing the traumas, or even go a little bit deeper into past lives to be able to bring those things into awareness, and then doing the work with the reprogramming of the mind to be able to release them, change them, reframe them, and then go through real life, basically stacking proof towards the new personality or the new programs that someone wants to install in their life.
Yes, absolutely.
Is that a good summary for people?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's you really have to first discover and then really feel it and really recognize it and then reprogram it. And it is not. And I think I can also address a little bit about spiritual bypassing. So some people, they really feel that when they do like a breathing session or a cacao, and don't say that it doesn't work, but if you really have people who are deeply traumatized and deeply rooted, it's not like you say, oh, you breathe all the bad and negativity out and now it's gone. Well, it's not really gone. It's you really have to actively get rid of it in a way that what I saw, this is also very valuable maybe for people. Active memories or even passive memories in the subconscious, they attach to identity or safety or personality, but they also have a value. So let's say I had a trauma and something happened, I got abandoned in the mall, and this is for me trauma. If I give it a number, it's like 7. It's really big for me. It's a 7. This trauma really holds. So you cannot just say, and now you just release the trauma. It's the 7 is still there. It's how do you? It's gaslighting yourself. You really have to let go of the value of the moment that you had in the mall, and then if the value drops, yes, you can let go. So it really entails, if you really want to let go of stuff, you really have to devalue some things to really get a different point of view. If you really value the opinion of your mother and everything that she says, even though you don't want to, it holds a 9. Like, she really disapproves of this and that, and it's really bugging me that she disapproves this or that. You have to really devalue that moment. Like, it doesn't have any more value, but there's a process behind getting the value down of that moment. It's not only like blowing smoke or just drinking cacao and just letting it go. It's really dropping the value. And if that works with a cacao session, it's nice, but don't gaslight yourself so much. I think it's the steps of really reprogramming. It takes a lot of time, and it can, for some people, it can also be really fast, but they really get it, and they really go through the devaluation of the worthiness of the thoughts really fast.
And what would be the main differences you would say between this type of working through traumas and releasing and traditional methods like talk therapy?
I think it can also work. Everything can work. It depends on the person's belief system. So if somebody doesn't believe in what I do in the readings, in the sessions, it will not work. It's just also a belief system, of course. And with classical psychotherapy, if people just talk, it can also help if you talk a lot about things. If you have told the story like for the 10th time, you think, yeah, this is kind of a lame story now, so you devalue the moment. So but it takes a lot of time. Some things really take a lot of time. It takes years and years and years of talking, or years and years and years of programming, and some things just take longer, and some things are good in the moment, but then it pops back. So when you feel that you use the method and it just pops back, it's just like putting a band-aid over the problem. It's just didn't really get through to the root.
And how does your work has changed over the years? Do you see any difference in the types of people who come to work with you, the questions they have, or their openness to spirituality?
I think for me, if I look at this question, I can only answer the question out of my own personal bubble, because I don't attract the world. I attract the people who get attracted to me. So I'm not a piece of the pie. I just get a piece of the pie of the people who are attracted to me. So when my energy changes, people who match my energy, they just come to me. So I did feel that there was a large difference between people who came to me in the early stages or come to me in the later stages. And so my answer is not really of value to other people, but still it's very interesting to think about that the view that people have, like now people are more open and people are more spiritual and well, it's because it's you. It's not the world. It's, well, of course there are some things that happen in the world and there are larger quantities of people who are interested in spirituality, but the people you attract, they just say something about you and not about the world. So the people that I attracted are now more into really the things that we spoke about, the reprogramming, understanding their programs, understanding their trauma. They really want to go deeper. It's not like a basic cacao ceremony or basic love yourself ceremony. They're people who are really technical, really want to do stuff and really want to change things. They really did a lot of things already, the people who come to me, and they're now fed up with it and they really want to change.
Yeah, I really like this answer. I think it's so valuable that indeed, like maybe people we attract, it's not a reflection of the world, it's a reflection of who we are in this moment and our own journey. I think that's super interesting viewpoint. And also, I see it, the second part that you say that people are interested in actually getting deep into the mechanics and get the results. I think that's also what attracted me to spirituality at the first place. Because for me, I'm like, okay, I want to create a certain change in my life. If this is a tool that it's like more efficient or effective than other tools and it's going to help me get the results I want, then I'm going to try it and figure out for myself how it works. And I think that's a really nice practical approach that people can have towards all these modalities and all this work. Because I think in the end, what is most important is that we get the results that we want rather than feeling good in the moment. So I like this
Yes.
kind of. So even though it's like indeed it's our energy that attracts the people, I think it's also collective experience that there is more transformation and awakening in people's lives, but also in a collective global level. Are there any messages that you have received recently that are relevant for people who are into this journey and they're navigating the changes?
I think a very important message but this is also very personal, not really for the world, but once it sticks, is really minding your thoughts. So I think because of the change, because of everything that is changing and transforming, there are a lot of thoughts like bubbles flying around. It's maybe it's a bit abstract, but if people don't resonate with it, it's fine. But thoughts are like it's electromagnetic static. So if you think something, it's not in your head, it leaves your head, it's actually part of a field. So when you think about a lot of things and people are with you in the room, or you have like your neighbors up and down or around you, these thoughts, they can influence all the people around you as well. So when it's also vice versa. So when you have like a really busy head, a lot of thoughts, you're just your radio emitter and receiver is just receiving a lot of thoughts, but it's not always you. So I think with all these changes, people are more open for receiving, but they receive a lot more that they want to have, or what they are needing, or what is for them. So I think that's really important. That is something that I really what my essence is really saying to me is like, mind your thoughts, mind what is happening to you. If this thought is real, is it working for me, is it not working for me, where does it come from? And just don't eat every thought that there is, because eating all the thoughts, it will make you full and it will make you unhealthy. Just pick out the ones that are healthy for you and just leave the rest. It's like a buffet. You don't have to eat everything on the buffet. Just pick out the ones that are healthy for you and don't overeat. That's really important.
That's very useful advice. Discernment and mindfulness. Very nice. What is your mission?
Well, that's an interesting one. I really want to, well, this construct that we're in, this reality, it's nice and all, but I think that there are some things in this reality that keep everybody in this reincarnation cycle. So we keep on reincarnating, and I don't think it's a good way. Some people feel that there's a lesson to be learned. Everything happens for a reason. There's a lesson, and I will get better at it. And next time I will do this and this. But I see that people just keep repeating the shame and the guilt and everything. It's just like this. It's, and I really want to get people out of it, to not really go into the cycle again and again, like ascending. It's ascending people to their higher mind, to their higher purpose, seeing that they are complete and they don't have to learn anymore. Well, they have to, of course, manage their own things, and it's not that we have to just sit around and do nothing, but it's really about ascending the mind and making sure that they don't have to cycle again and again in the human life, and they can ascend to their higher mind. And my mission is to, well, I always thought I just have to help a few people to reach that state, because not everybody is ready. I saw that with my QHHT sessions. Some people are really into cycling with the past lives, and that's fine. And some people even don't believe in past lives. That's also fine. But I really want to help those few people who are really open to ascend and to really maybe even leave this simulation and really get into higher states of being. That's my mission.
Beautiful. So if you could inspire our audience with one new belief or one new action they can start taking every day, that it will have the biggest impact on their lives, what would this be?
Well, the most important thing is managing your thoughts. So I encountered somebody who didn't even have really very clear for herself how her thoughts work. So I said, well, do you speak to yourself in the morning like, oh, I have to brush my teeth, I have to make a sandwich, I have to... And she said, what do you mean? Well, some people are not even on that level, and some people, they really talk to themselves, but really making sure that the voice that is talking to yourself, not like I have to make a sandwich, I have to put the garbage out, that's very normal, but the way that your voice talks to you, like nobody is waiting for you, and this is not very helpful, you're not special, everything that is... The voice in our head is really, let's manage that. let's find out what the voice is saying and why it's saying and what points, and not identify so much with that, but just try to be the observer of all the thoughts that are in your head. And when you do so, you observe your thoughts. You don't identify with all your thoughts, or maybe not even a thought. There will be a big shift in your life. And it's not like having a split mentality, like you're not your thoughts anymore, you're separate and you're not thinking anymore, but it's really having this discernment of your own thoughts. This is really helpful. And then working on the Hemi-sync, working on the stimulation of the right brain in correlation with the left brain. And if we do that, I think all world problems will be solved. Everything will be solved. That's it.
Nice. Our platform is called Ascended Lightworkers. What ascension means to you?
Ascension is especially ascending the programs and ascending our ego and ascending the trauma and really getting out of that and really not being a product of all the trauma and everything of our ancestors and all that there is, all the collective trauma, really ascending that. Because when you ascend that, when you have risen above your own programs and everything that is keeping us in a loop, then you will see clearly what is really going on, and you will see clearly what matters and what doesn't matter. And I think then we will be all fine. So ascending is really important.
And do you have any final thoughts or advice that you would like to leave with our audience?
Final thoughts or advice is to find out for yourself about your emotional safety, emotional and physical safety. Really give it a really good thought about what happens in your day-to-day life, what makes you feel emotionally safe. I have this friend who really wants to do everything by herself. She checks everything. She wants to manage everything. So for her, giving work away to another person will give her anxiety. So this is a really good clue if this happens to you, or you're really very much in control. You want to have like all control over your kids, control over this, control over that. And when it's not so, those are really very big coping mechanisms of how to cope with your environment. And when you stop doing that, anxiety will rise. But just sit with the anxiety that will rise when you stop with the coping mechanisms. And then you can discover what is there in your basic safety, what are your patterns, and then you can start feeling. So stop with the coping mechanisms, or discover your coping mechanisms, and then you will discover what is underneath it, what you're trying to cover up.
Perfect. Sandra, thank you so much for this conversation, and thank you for being part of the Ascended Lightworkers platform, and for everything that you do, the work to help people heal and reprogram their mind and ascend. And for people who want to work with you, they can go to your profile on the Ascended Lightworkers platform. I'll put the link below. And they can choose either a soul reading or a QHHT session, or even a channeling session, and also your course shift method if they want to dive deep into this work and really create some massive transformation in their lives. And for people who are watching this video, if you liked it, please like and subscribe to our channel. Until the next time, my friends, keep spreading your light. Sandra, thank you so much.
Thank you.